and you're going to go through the game, and then eventually you're going to deliver all the goods cubes out of the city. When you deliver all the goods cubes out of a city, you'll place an empty city marker on that city. When you place all of the empty city markers, which will be determined by the number of players, so the more players you have, the more cities you will need to empty out. The less players you have, the fewer cities you'll need to empty out. When all of those are gone, the game ends. The next round, so one more complete round of everybody going 3 times, and then the game is over. And then you will determine, everybody will get their money, because the money phase happens at the end of each round. Everybody will get their money, and you will determine who has the most victory points based on taking away victory points for each share they have issued and adding victory points for any conditions they get from the Railroad Tycoon cards. So again, if you had the most money card, you would get 7 points if you had the most money. And then you will determine the winner, and you will want to play again because it's a really fun game. Alright, so you've seen how to play the game, and we've introduced you to it and told you a little bit about it. So let's run down what we actually thought of the game. This is our basic review, and we'll give you a little bit of details. Now, there's 3 main components that go into a review: the fun factor, the simplicity of the rules, and the components. And we're going to take a look at how each of those stack up for each game that we do, and then we're going to give you an overall score. And we're both going to give you a score so that you can kind of get an impression how 2 different people feel about the game. So first, let's talk about the fun factor of the game. This is one of the reasons why we keep coming back to the game. We've got dozens and dozens of plays out of this game so far. I mean, this is something that we always fall back on when there's nothing else we want to play. So with that, I'm easily giving it an A. The competitive nature of the game, it's just, I don't know. You got anything to add to it?
It's loads of fun. That's about all there is to it.
Yeah. What's your review score for fun factor?
It's an A as well.
So we both give it an A. One of the things, you really can't explain how fun it is to play a train game like this, because you think train game, that's kind of boring, but the mechanics of the game are very competitive. You have a lot of jockeying back and forth and for position and getting victory points, and it's hard to explain, but you should definitely give it a try if it's something that even remotely interests you. I don't think that many people are going to be excluded from liking this unless the train theme just completely turns you off. But yeah, that's that. Beyond that, the simplicity of the rules. This is another advantage that the game has. The rule book is 12 pages, 10 pages, something, yeah, 11 pages long if you count the credits. So basically, when you're reading the rules, you'll be able to teach this to new players in 10 minutes. You'll be off and running. The strategy of the game is going to be a little harder to get down pat, but really, the actual learning of the game couldn't have been much simpler. So again, I give it an A.
I gave it an A-. Like you said, it's really, really simple. It's really easy to teach new players. I gave it an A- because there are some rules that they're just a bit, I should say, not really complicated. They're just kind of out of the way, and it's just sometimes hard to remember them. But I mean, it's just one of those things where after a while you just get it. So yeah, I give it an A-.
They also do a good job of putting all the rules that you really need on the board. So the track costs are on the board. All the major lines are presented on cards. I mean, you really have everything you need to play once you know the basic rules in front of you, so that you don't need to keep referring back to the book. I mean, granted, we play this, again, dozens of times through the time that we've owned the game for, what, about a year and a half now or something. I can't remember the last time we've referred back to the rules. I mean, other than like the starting placement, how many of the empty city markers you're going to have, you just don't need to refer back to the rules very often. So very good job on that and making a simple and yet deep strategy game. Moving on to the components. You see a lot of these, the components, themselves, the small chits, the trains, the paper money, everything is pretty high quality. The level 3, level 4 train, it's all like a real thick cardboard, and the little plastic pieces that you use to mark empty cities, cardboard for shares. The goods cubes come in a nice black silky bag, very high quality. There are a couple flaws, however. And first of all, it has to be mentioned again, the board is 36 by 45 inches. This is 1/3 of the size of the board. 1/3. There are 2 more of those pieces, and then they all connect, and so you have 3 separated pieces of the board. And not only is it huge, 36 by 45 inches, but the board has a tendency of being warped. So you have to be aware of that. The 3 pieces do not always connect together very well. So that takes down from it. The other thing is we have had some issues with like the goods cubes being like attached to each other, not properly separated. And they also don't give you a round marker. This is the first player token. We tend to use that for actually marking the rounds instead of marking the first player. So there's a couple drawbacks, the big one being the board warping, and then also the colors. Purple trains, blue trains, it really amounts to more of a, purple and violet are really the colors that are demonstrated on the board. So as far as components, I can only give this game a C- as far as that goes.
I gave it a C. Everything except for the board and the colors on the board are just, they're fine. Like you said, we had the 2 purple cubes that were welded together, and that we had to pry apart with pliers over about, a week?
Yeah, and that was after dealing with it for about a year.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything's high quality except for the warping board and the colors on the board. Man, that's horrible. You'll find yourself a lot of the times, delivering cubes, and, all right, I'm going to make this, 8-point delivery, and all of a sudden you can't make it because it's the wrong color.
Your friend tells you, no, that's a blue cube, and you're trying to deliver it to a purple city, or a purple cube trying to deliver it to a blue city, especially when you're playing in low-light situations, which...
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, so, I mean, overall, all the components, like the plastic trains, they're great. All the little hexes that you use for building the other track and stuff, great. Again, one of the things I have to point out is that sometimes the track pieces, they try to give you a good variety, because there'll be curved pieces, there'll be straight pieces, there'll be connectors that you can use, but occasionally you'll get a piece that has the same piece on both sides. It'll be 2 straight pieces. You're never going to use both sides at the same time, so they should have made all the pieces different, so that on one side it's curved and on the other side it's straight. Because a lot of times you'll find yourself searching for curved pieces when all you can find is straight pieces. So that is my one complaint with the hex tiles for laying down track. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up.